So you shared this ultimate guide to personal development with us.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's something I think we can all relate to. Like,
Oh,
who doesn't want to grow and improve themselves, right? But sometimes it feels like
oh
it
yeah.
feels so overwhelming. Like, where do I even start?
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
It's like, you want to get better.
Yeah.
You're not really sure what steps to take. Yeah,
Yeah. And this guide is cool because it gives us a framework to think about it.
it does.
So instead of just like this vague, I want to be better, it gives us some concrete things to focus on.
Right. It breaks it down into these manageable pieces,
Exactly.
which makes it way less intimidating.
And the way this guide does it is it presents like these 5 main types of personal development.
Oh,
And then it
yeah.
goes into these 7 essential pillars, which are kind of like the
Mhm.
foundation, the underlying principles that support all that growth.
Right. Those are like the key ingredients you need to actually make those changes happen.
Yeah.
So today we're going to dive into both of these frameworks,
Okay, cool.
and we're going to see how they kind of intertwine and support each other.
All right, so let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
The first area this guide focuses on is mental development.
Okay.
So when we say mental development, it's not just like getting smarter or increasing your IQ.
Yeah.
Right.
Not necessarily.
It's more than that.
It's more about expanding your cognitive abilities.
Okay.
It's about becoming a lifelong learner,
Mm-hmm.
always seeking out new information and knowledge.
Okay, so like reading and taking courses and stuff like that.
Exactly. And it's not just about absorbing information.
Okay.
It's also about how you process that information.
Got it.
So things like critical thinking,
Mm-hmm.
creativity,
Okay.
even enhancing your memory and your focus.
So it's really about like how you use your mind.
It is. It's about nurturing that curiosity and that adaptability,
Right.
which are super valuable in today's world.
Absolutely, especially with how fast everything is changing.
Yeah, things are constantly evolving, so you got to be able to keep up.
And the guide gives some really cool and practical ways to develop these skills.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
So things like reading widely, taking courses on subjects that interest you.
Those are classics for a reason.
Right. It even mentions things like puzzles and brain teasers.
Yeah, those could be fun.
Yeah, to kind of like give your mind a workout.
It's like going to the gym for your brain.
Exactly. And then another big one that's been gaining popularity is mindfulness.
Oh, yeah. Mindfulness is huge these days.
Right. And it makes sense because it helps you to
Yeah.
kind of center your thoughts and be more present.
Totally. It helps you cut through all the noise.
Yeah, and just focus.
And that focus then helps you in all those other areas we talked about.
It's like a foundation for everything else.
Exactly. It's all interconnected.
So thinking about everything on your plate right now,
Mm.
what area of mental development feels like the most important for you to focus on right now?
That's a good question.
Is it like expanding your knowledge in a specific area or maybe improving your problem-solving skills?
Yeah. Or maybe even just being more present and mindful.
Yeah. Whatever it is, just something to think about.
Definitely.
Okay, let's move on to the next type of personal development,
Okay.
which is emotional development.
Okay.
And I feel like this is a big one for so many people.
Oh, it is, for sure.
Because everyone experiences emotions, right?
Everyone.
Right.
It's part of being human.
Yeah.
But it's how we understand and manage those emotions that can really make a difference.
Yeah, that's where emotional development comes in.
Exactly.
So how does this guide define emotional development?
Well, it basically says that it's all about gaining a deeper understanding of your internal emotional landscape.
Ooh, that sounds deep.
It is. It's about becoming more aware of your own emotions
Okay.
and their impact,
Okay.
and then learning how to manage those emotions effectively.
So it's not just about like suppressing negative emotions.
No, not at all.
It's more about like,
It's about understanding them,
yeah.
accepting them,
Mm-hmm.
and then figuring out healthy ways to express them.
Okay, so it's like a journey of self-discovery.
It is. And a big part of that is developing emotional intelligence.
Oh, yeah. Emotional intelligence is a hot topic these days.
It's so important, though,
Yeah.
because it helps you navigate the world around you.
Right.
It's about being aware of not only your own emotions, but also the emotions of others.
So like empathy.
Exactly. Empathy is huge.
Okay.
And it's also about honing those interpersonal skills.
So like communication and conflict resolution,
Yes.
all of
Yeah.
that. So it's really about how you relate to yourself and to other people on an emotional level.
Beautifully said.
And the guide gives some really cool tips for developing these skills.
Yeah. Like what?
So mindfulness comes up again.
Mindfulness is like the Swiss Army knife of personal development.
Right. It seems to be helpful for everything.
It really is.
It's about being present and aware of your emotions as they're happening.
Exactly.
And then another suggestion is journaling.
Oh, yeah. Journaling is a great way to process your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and it can also help you identify patterns in your emotional responses.
That's really interesting.
Right? Like maybe you notice that you always get anxious before big presentations.
Or you always get super irritable when you're hungry.
That's me, for sure.
Haha. Right.
Yeah.
So journaling can help you become more aware of those things.
It can.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you're aware of them, you can start to develop strategies for managing them.
And the guide even suggests therapy or counseling as a way
Mm,
to really delve into these things
absolutely.
and get some guidance from a professional.
Therapy is becoming much more destigmatized these days.
Yeah, it's not just for people who are like struggling or whatever.
Right.
It can be for anyone who wants to improve their emotional well-being.
It's like going to the gym for your mind,
Exactly.
but for your emotions.
I love that.
Yeah.
And the guide makes a really important point here.
What's that?
It says that self-awareness is the foundation of emotional development.
Makes sense.
You can't really manage your emotions effectively
Yeah.
or understand other people's emotions
Mm.
if you don't even understand your own.
It's like trying to build a house without a foundation.
Right, it all crumbles.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that we're going to talk about self-awareness again later on
Oh, yeah.
when we get to the 7 pillars.
Must be pretty important then.
It is. It's like the bedrock of everything.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to that.
All right, so the third type of personal development is physical development.
All right.
This one might seem a bit more straightforward.
Yeah, at first glance, it seems pretty obvious.
It's about our bodies, right?
Yeah, it's about taking care of our physical health.
But the guide actually positions it as being really integral to our overall development.
Interesting.
So it's not just about like looking good or being fit.
No, it's about optimizing your physical state
Okay.
so you can function at your best.
So what are some of the key areas that it highlights?
Well, it talks about regular exercise, of course,
Mm-hmm.
proper nutrition, getting enough sleep.
Yeah, sleep is so important.
It is. And it also mentions preventative health care.
So like going to the doctor for checkups and stuff like that.
Exactly. It's about taking proactive steps to stay healthy.
And the guide emphasizes that these things aren't just about like avoiding sickness.
Right.
It's about creating a foundation of physical well-being
Yeah.
that allows you to thrive in all areas of your life.
It's like having a strong and sturdy base for your house.
I love that analogy.
Right. If the foundation is weak,
Yeah,
the whole structure is going to suffer.
exactly.
And the same goes for your body.
If you're not taking care of yourself physically, it's going to be harder to focus mentally.
Yeah. You'd be tired and sluggish.
Right. And it's going to be harder to manage your emotions
For sure.
and just harder to engage with the world around you.
Absolutely.
So physical development is really about setting yourself up for success in all areas.
It's like laying the groundwork for everything else.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Let's move on to the next type.
Which is social development.
Oh, okay. Social development.
So this is all about our connections with other people, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's about how we interact with the world around us
Okay.
and how we build relationships.
So what are some of the key aspects of social development that the guide talks about?
It really emphasizes the importance of strong social skills.
Okay.
So things like communication,
Mm-hmm.
active listening.
Okay, so not just hearing what people are saying, but actually understanding it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And being able to respond in a way that shows you get it.
And then it also talks about building and nurturing relationships.
Right, because relationships are so important.
They are.
They give us support,
Yeah.
connection,
Mhm.
and a sense of belonging.
And the guide even mentions networking.
Networking is interesting because it can feel kind of icky sometimes.
Yeah, it can feel very transactional.
But it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
If you approach it with the right mindset,
Okay.
it can actually be a way to build genuine connections.
So it's about finding common ground and building relationships based on mutual interest and respect.
Exactly. And it can also be about sharing your expertise and helping others.
So it's like a give and take.
It is. It's a two-way street.
Okay, so what are some of the things that the guide suggests for developing these social skills?
Well, it recommends participating in social activities that align with your interests.
Okay, so like joining a club or taking a class.
Yeah, anything that gets you out there interacting with people.
And then it also talks about consciously working on your communication skills.
So like practicing public speaking
Mm.
or even just being more mindful of your body language.
Yeah, and then it also emphasizes the importance of developing leadership qualities.
Now, leadership doesn't necessarily mean being in charge of people.
Right.
It can also mean taking initiative,
Okay.
being a good role model, and inspiring others.
So it's about stepping up and making a positive impact.
Exactly. And then, of course, the guide stresses the importance of investing in your existing relationships.
So making time for your loved ones,
Yeah.
communicating effectively,
Mm-hmm.
and showing up for them when they need you.
Because relationships need to be nurtured.
They do. They require effort and attention.
And you know what's cool about this section is that it really connects back to emotional development.
How so?
Well, because a lot of the same skills apply,
Oh, yeah.
like empathy
Yeah.
and strong interpersonal skills.
Those are crucial for both.
It's all about being able to understand and respond to other people's emotions effectively.
It is. And that's what allows us to build strong and healthy relationships.
Okay, so it seems like all these types of development are kind of interwoven.
They are. They're not separate silos.
They all influence each other.
Right. It's all part of the same tapestry.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the final type of personal development is spiritual development.
Okay.
And this one can be a little tricky to define
Yeah. It can be a bit abstract.
because it means different things to different people.
Right. And it's often associated with religion, which can be a barrier for some people.
Yeah.
But the guide makes it clear that spiritual development doesn't have to be religious.
Okay, that's good to know.
It's more about connecting with your values,
Okay.
your sense of purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and something larger than yourself.
So it's about finding meaning and purpose in life.
Exactly. And it's also about cultivating inner peace.
Inner peace is so elusive these days.
It is, but it's so important.
It's like the holy grail of personal development.
Haha, right.
Yeah.
So what are some of the key aspects of spiritual development that the guide highlights?
Well, it talks about understanding your own sense of purpose and meaning in life.
Okay.
So what gets you out of bed in the morning?
Yeah, what drives you.
What makes you feel like you're making a difference?
And then it also talks about cultivating gratitude.
Gratitude is so powerful,
It is. It's about focusing on the good things in your life.
and appreciating what you have.
And then it also mentions mindfulness again.
Mindfulness is back.
Haha. It's everywhere.
It's like the superhero of personal development.
Right. But in this context, it's about connecting with the present moment.
Yeah, and quieting the mind.
And then it also talks about fostering inner peace,
Inner peace.
which, as we said, is easier said than done.
It is. But there are things you can do to cultivate it.
Like what?
Well, the guide suggests things like meditation,
Okay.
spending time in nature, and practicing forgiveness.
So it's about letting go of negativity and finding a sense of calm within yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the final aspect is personal reflection.
Okay. So like taking some time to think about your life
Yeah. And your values and your goals.
and how you're living in alignment with those things.
It's about checking in with yourself and making sure you're on the right track.
So it's like a process of self-discovery and course correction.
It is. And it can be a really transformative journey.
Okay, so those are the 5 key types of personal development.
Okay, so we've covered the what?
Right, we've talked about the different areas of our lives where we can grow and evolve.
The different domains of personal development.
Exactly. Now, the guide transitions to what it calls the 7 essential pillars of personal development.
Okay, so this is the how.
Exactly. This is the framework for actually making those changes happen.
The tools and strategies we can use.
So the 5 types are like the destinations,
Okay,
and the 7 pillars are like the roadmap.
I like that analogy.
Right.
It tells us how to get there.
So let's dive into those pillars.
All right, pillar number 1 is self-awareness.
Okay, we talked about this earlier.
We did. It came up when we were talking about emotional development.
Yeah, it's clearly a pretty important concept.
It is. And the guide actually positions it as the bedrock of all personal development.
Wow. So it's not just about emotions then.
No, it's about everything.
Interesting.
It's about having a deep and an honest understanding of yourself,
Okay.
your strengths,
Yeah.
your weaknesses,
Mhm.
your values,
Okay.
your motivations.
Well, basically everything that makes you you.
Exactly. And the guy makes a really good point here.
It says that without self-awareness, it's really hard to make meaningful and sustainable progress in any area of your life.
That makes sense.
Because if you don't even know who you are
Yeah.
and what you want, how can you possibly set goals that are aligned with your true self?
You're just going to be wandering around aimlessly.
Like, it's like trying to navigate without a map.
Or a compass.
Yeah, you're just lost.
So how do we cultivate this self-awareness then?
Well, the guide gives some great suggestions.
Okay.
Journaling is one of them.
Journaling again.
It's a recurring theme.
It's a good one, though.
It is. It helps you process your thoughts and emotions.
Yeah.
And become more aware of your patterns.
And the guide also suggests reflecting on your past experiences.
Okay, so thinking about what you've learned from your successes and your failures.
Exactly. Because there are valuable lessons to be learned from both.
And then another suggestion is to seek feedback from trusted individuals in your life.
Ooh, that one can be tough.
It can be.
Yeah.
Because it's not always easy to hear constructive criticism.
But it can be so valuable.
It can. because it gives you a different perspective on yourself.
And it can help you identify blind spots.
Yeah, those things that we don't even realize we're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the guide mentions mindfulness again.
Mindfulness is everywhere.
It's like the glue that holds personal development together.
Uh-huh. Right.
Yeah.
But in this context, it's about becoming more aware of your thoughts and feelings as they arise.
So you can observe them without judgment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that allows you to make more conscious choices about how you respond to them.
It's about taking back control of your emotional autopilot.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's self-awareness.
The foundation of it all.
All right, pillar number 2 is goal setting and motivation.
Goal setting classic.
Right, it's essential for making progress.
It gives you direction,
Yeah.
purpose, and something to strive for.
And the guide really emphasizes the importance of setting SMART goals.
SMART goals.
So those are goals that are
Okay, let's hear it.
specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
I remember those from my business classes.
Haha, right.
Yeah,
But they apply to personal development too.
they do. It's about setting yourself up for success.
And the guide also stresses the importance of breaking down large goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
That's so important.
It is.
Yeah.
Because big goals can feel overwhelming.
They can be paralyzing.
Right. And that can lead to procrastination.
Oh, yeah. Procrastination is the enemy of progress.
It is. So by breaking things down into smaller chunks,
Yeah.
it makes it feel less daunting.
And more achievable.
Exactly. And then the guide also talks about the importance of accountability.
Accountability is huge.
It is. Because it's easy to let ourselves off the hook.
Oh, yeah. Especially when it comes to personal goals.
Right. So the guide suggests things like finding an accountability partner.
Okay.
Or sharing your goals with someone you trust.
Yeah, just having someone to check in with.
Or even joining a group of people who are working towards similar goals.
That could be really motivating.
It can. Because you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself.
And you can learn from each other's experiences.
Yeah, it's like a support system.
And then the guide also talks about rewarding yourself for reaching milestones. Ooh. Rewards are always good.
They are. Because it gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah, and it helps you stay motivated.
So it's about celebrating those small wins along the way.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything big.
Yeah, it could be something as simple as like taking a break or watching your favorite show.
Or buying yourself a small treat.
Exactly. It's just about acknowledging your progress and giving yourself a little pat on the back.
It's about recognizing your efforts.
And I think it's really cool how the guide ties this back to motivation.
How so?
Well, it says that motivation often dwindles when goals feel too far off in the future
That makes sense.
or when they're too vague.
Yeah.
So by making them SMART
Yeah.
and breaking them down into smaller steps, you create a clearer pathway forward.
And you give yourself more opportunities to experience those small wins.
Which keeps you motivated and on track.
It's like those games where you level up.
Right.
Yeah.
You get those little dopamine hits along the way.
And that keeps you playing.
Exactly. So goal setting and motivation are really about setting yourself up for success.
It's about creating a system that works for you.
Okay, so pillar number 3 is time management and productivity.
Ooh, time management. That's a big one.
It is. It's something I think we all struggle with.
Especially in today's world where everyone's so busy.
Yeah, it feels like there's never enough time.
There's so much going on.
And so many distractions.
Oh my gosh, the distractions are endless.
Right. So how does this guide approach time management?
Well, it starts by saying that effective time management isn't just about getting more done.
Okay.
It's about creating the space for the things that matter most.
So it's about prioritizing.
Exactly, and being intentional with how you spend your time.
And it introduces a really cool tool called the Eisenhower Matrix.
The Eisenhower Matrix?
Yeah, have you heard of this?
I have, actually.
Okay, so it's basically a system for categorizing tasks
Yeah.
based on urgency and importance.
Right, so you have things that are urgent and important,
Hmm?
things that are urgent but not important,
Yeah.
things that are important but not urgent.
And then things that are neither urgent nor important.
Right, so it helps you decide what to focus on first.
Exactly. It helps you get clear on your priorities.
And then it suggests using time blocking techniques.
Okay, so that's like scheduling specific blocks of time for specific tasks.
Exactly. So instead of just reacting to whatever comes up,
Yeah.
you're proactively planning your day.
And that can really help with focus.
It can, because you're not constantly switching between tasks.
And it also helps you avoid distractions.
Oh yeah, distractions are a killer.
They are. So the guide suggests things like turning off notifications,
Yeah.
putting your phone on airplane mode.
Mm-hmm. Or even using website blockers.
Whatever it takes to create a distraction-free environment.
Right, because when you're constantly interrupted,
Yeah.
it takes way longer to get things done.
And you end up feeling frazzled and stressed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So creating that focused work time is essential.
And then the guide also mentions using productivity apps and tools.
Oh yeah, there are so many out there.
There are. It can be overwhelming, actually.
It can be.
But the key is to find the ones that work for you.
Right, the ones that actually help you be more productive.
And not just add more complexity to your life.
Exactly. Because sometimes technology can be a distraction in itself.
It can. So it's about using it intentionally and strategically.
And the guide makes a really good point here.
What's that?
It says that you don't have to implement all these techniques at once.
Oh, yeah, that would be overwhelming.
It would. So it suggests starting with just one or two.
And seeing how they work for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then gradually adding more as you get comfortable.
So it's about finding a system that's sustainable for you.
Right, because there's no one-size-fits-all approach to time management.
It's about experimenting and finding what works best for your individual needs and preferences.
And then the guide encourages us to try incorporating one of these techniques into our week
Oh,
and to see if it makes a difference.
I like that.
It's a good challenge.
Because sometimes even a small change can have a big impact.
It can. And it might surprise you how much more productive you can be.
All right, so that's time management and productivity.
Okay, a lot to think about there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's move on to pillar number 4.
Which brings us back to emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence, we meet again.
Haha.
It's like that friend who keeps popping up in unexpected places.
But in a good way.
In a very good way.
And the fact that it's both a key type of development and an essential pillar
Yeah.
really highlights how important it is.
It's like the VIP guest at the personal development party.
Exactly.
So what does the guide say about emotional intelligence as a pillar?
Well, it reiterates its role in building resilience,
Okay.
fostering strong relationships.
And managing stress.
So all really important stuff.
Essential life skills.
And it highlights specific practices like cultivating empathy.
Empathy is so crucial.
It is. It's about being able to understand and share the feelings of others.
And it helps us connect with people on a deeper level.
And then it also talks about regulating our own emotions.
So not letting our emotions control us.
Exactly. It's about being able to respond to situations in a thoughtful and measured way.
Even when we're feeling stressed or upset.
And then it also mentions improving conflict resolution skills.
Ooh, conflict is inevitable.
It is. We can't avoid it.
But we can learn how to navigate it more effectively.
And that's where conflict resolution skills come in.
So learning how to communicate assertively,
Yeah.
listening to the other person's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and finding solutions that work for everyone involved.
And then finally, it talks about intentionally building strong interpersonal connections.
So putting in the effort to nurture those relationships.
Exactly. Because relationships don't just happen.
They require time and attention.
And effort.
And emotional intelligence helps us do all of that.
It's like the toolbox for building and maintaining healthy relationships.
I love that.
And it's so interesting how this connects back to emotional development as a type.
Yeah, it's like two sides of the same coin.
Right. Emotional intelligence as a pillar
Yeah.
gives us the practical skills and the awareness we need to actually put those principles of emotional development into practice.
It's like the theory and the practice.
Exactly.
Working together in perfect harmony.
Okay, so pillar number 5 is continuous learning and adaptability.
Lifelong learning.
It's so important in today's world.
It is, because things are changing so rapidly.
And if we're not constantly learning and adapting,
Yeah.
we're going to get left behind.
The world is going to pass us by.
And the guide really emphasizes the importance of being proactive about our learning.
So not just waiting for opportunities to come to us.
Right, it's about seeking them out.
Exactly. And being curious and open to new experiences.
And it suggests things like reading widely.
Always a good one.
Right. Taking courses or workshops.
Mm-hmm. Staying up to date on industry trends.
Yeah, whatever your field is.
And honing your problem-solving abilities.
Because problems are inevitable.
They are. Life is full of them.
So the better we are at solving problems,
Yeah.
the more successful we'll be.
And the guide makes a really interesting point here.
What's that?
It says that we should view failures and setbacks as opportunities for learning.
Oh, yeah, that's a great mindset shift.
It is. Because it's so easy to get discouraged when we fail.
But if we can reframe it as a learning experience,
Yeah.
it takes away some of the sting.
And it helps us grow.
And the guide also emphasizes the importance of adaptability.
Adaptability is huge.
It is, because as we said, things are constantly changing.
And the more adaptable we are.
Yeah. the better we'll be able to navigate those changes.
It's about being flexible and open to new ideas.
And being willing to pivot when necessary.
Right, because sometimes our original plan doesn't work out.
And we have to adjust course.
Exactly. And that's okay.
It's all part of the process.
So continuous learning and adaptability are really about embracing the unknown.
And being willing to grow and evolve along the way.
It's about seeing change as an opportunity rather than a threat.
Okay, awesome.
All right, let's move on to pillar number 6.
Which is financial literacy.
Financial literacy.
This one might seem a little out of place.
Yeah, it's not the first thing that comes to mind when you think of personal development.
But the guide makes a really good point here.
What's up?
It says that a solid understanding of personal finances
Yeah.
is actually a foundational element of long-term stability and well-being.
Okay, I can see that.
It's not just about getting rich.
Right.